Shotzzy's gonna sneak past Subliners. Have no idea what that is.
What is it, man? Why is your movement just on another level?
I think it's just because I look at the game completely different than everyone else.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler Polchow, aka Teep, and welcome back to the Barracks. Season 2 is brought to you by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Our guest for today, we're going one-on-one with Dallas Empire's Anthony Shotzzy Cuevas, the 2020 League MVP and one of the first champions of the Call of Duty League itself. The 19-year-old made his name known in the Halo competitive scene with a 2018 World Championship, and now he's fragging his way to the top in the CDL. This guy is known for the movement, man. He's setting the precedent when it came to the league last year in terms of Modern Warfare movement. We're going to Cold War now. The guy's movement's incredible, one of the youngest talents we've had in Call of Duty, and he's taking the league by storm. The guy's an absolute beast. I can't wait to get into it. And first off, Anthony, Shotzzy, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So starting off this show today, I'm just going to pick your brain a little bit about recent CDL events, how you think you and your team are standing in the CDL, still very early on in the year, but just going to pick your brain a little bit. So to start off, you and iLLeY are the youngest players in the Empire right now. When you came into the league, did you feel a lot of pressure? Obviously, you had a lot of success coming over from Halo. What did you feel like when you came onto a CDL environment like this? What did you have to learn the most and the most quickly?
So joining Dallas Empire and then switching from a totally different game and then joining this team specifically with Ender. I guess you could say there was a lot of high hopes in terms of, me and Ender, just because he played S&D. I played S&D with him towards the end of Black Ops 4. And there was, I guess you could say, a lot of pressure. And just going into the season, I was just slowly learning, and then I'd say throughout the mid-year, that's when I started to, find my footing.
Gotcha. Was there a specific thing about this title, or even going back to last year too, that did you feel like there was a big learning curve when playing Call of Duty at the highest level with against some of these other pros? I know you played a lot of S&D and things like that. So that's sort of how you got your roots. I watched you a lot in Black Ops 4, for example. But was there one thing that stuck out that some of the Call of Duty pros did better than you thought?
Yeah, I'd say in terms of communication in Call of Duty is totally different compared to Halo. In Halo, it's just like, he's there, push him and stuff like that. In Call of Duty, it's like a lot of small talk, and it goes a long way. And that's one thing that I struggled with in the beginning. And, Crim and Clay really helped me get my small talk way better towards, the beginning or towards the mid and end of the year. And that was the biggest thing going into Call of Duty that I had to focus on.
So would you say that's the biggest lesson that you learned from them too? Obviously, I teamed with those guys back in the day when we had a large amount of our success, and small talk was something that we pride ourselves on. Do you feel like they were the best people to sort of, steer you in the right direction?
Oh yeah, 100%. Crim and Clay, they're the best. I've only teamed with, Crim and Clay, but in terms of their small talking, they're really good at small talking. So any type of criticism they gave me, I listened. Clay literally told me after we won champs, he was like, "Hey man, like, you could be one of the greatest players if you just work on your communication." And, I just took that to heart. And that's what I've been doing every single day.
That's awesome. Obviously, been paying off for you. You guys have been dominating so far. So we switch over. We go back to 4v4. Obviously, some weird roster change period happens for you guys. You guys get put in a weird situation, right? You're rolling on all cylinders. You win champs, right? You have to make a very tough decision. Obviously, we also saw the direction that you guys went. Clay going over to New York. The league is... I feel like it took a step up in terms of competitiveness. Obviously, it's a 12-team league, right? And I feel like the shift down to 4v4, not only did that stack the Challengers division that much more because so many roster spots sort of got eliminated, right? But also the league itself. I think there was an obvious discrepancy in terms of skill and talent in the league last year. You kind of saw that in the standings. We had some teams sort of underperforming, but now I feel like it's a different stage for sure. Well, is there anything that you guys are doing specifically based on your scrims and matches so far that you're doing that you will think will benefit you guys long term throughout this season?
Yeah, I'd say going into, so I'll just talk about a little bit last season. Last season we were really good individually, all of us, and we kind of went into the launch weekend, and then I'd say like throughout the year, just by honestly outskilling every single team for the most part. Obviously, we went over, some VOD review, but like we didn't sit there and actually go hill to hill and have a game plan for that. And that's one thing we struggle with in MW. And going into this year, we've been just setting up a game plan for every single hill and every single map. And I feel like that's one thing that, that's really preparing us for this, the next couple majors and, the world championship.
Did something like that happen when Røkkr came on board? I know he wasn't with you guys at the very start of this season, or maybe he was and it wasn't just announced yet, but does Rambo, your coach, have a big impact on stuff like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Rambo is the one that says like, hey man, like, I know we don't like doing VOD review, but we should obviously go over it. And, that's what we did from there. And then Clay was like a big person on VOD as well. So, from those two guys, they helped me individually just by going over VOD review and then obviously having that game plan for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't steer you wrong. All right, let's go into your match versus the Røkkr. Obviously, it was a tough series for you guys. Basically, an unexpected result for, based on what I've seen from you guys so far, whether it be scrims or anything else in Cold War so far. Takeaways from that match, first off, and what can you guys ensure moving forward to take care of these series a little bit more clean?
Oh yeah, so going into that match against Røkkr, I'd say our scrims were pretty good. And, when our scrims are good, we think that we don't have to fix anything. And we kind of went into that match with no game plan. Obviously, we know how to play the game and stuff like that. But going into that, our S&D on Garrison, it was not my best game. To be honest with you, I felt really uncomfortable. But I'm glad that we lost that because of the fact that, we sat down right after the match and it was like, hey, man, like, this is unacceptable. We need to go. We need to go with the game plan every single map and know what we need to do in every single situation, in every single hill. And then that's what we ended up doing. We talked about the match and then we went over every single map and came up with the game plan in terms of like, hey, if we're in this scenario, then we do this type of stuff. And I think losing to them honestly helped us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a match like that, you'd rather it early on. And like you said, I'm not the biggest fan of Garrison S&D. I just feel like it's very one-dimensional and things like that. But you're totally right. As long as you guys are all together on the same page, you're never going to have those situations where you're feeling uncomfortable. I had those times throughout my playing career too, where you load into a map and it just seems like you guys are all over the place. You're trying to make solo plays way too much. So if it's the best time for it to happen, to be honest, especially when it's, if you're talking S&D, I'm sure, I mean, you guys have probably spent a lot of time hammering out VODs and things like that. The S&D's in a weird spot right now too, right? Because who knows if it's going to stay in this current state too? Like maybe snipers and smokes will come back. It'll let you be a little bit more dynamic. Because do you feel like S&D right now doesn't really cater to your strength specifically? I'm just, not even talking about your team, but like I feel like a player like you, if you had a smoke, if you had a, you could rely on timings a little bit more. You could play a little bit more aggressive. Do you think if S&D changes back to a more, I guess, traditional style, do you think it would benefit you?
Yeah, just because I'm just that player that likes getting into situational gunfights and like I just like getting crazy with smokes and all that good stuff. But I mean, I could easily adapt to it. I just had a bad game and I'm gonna learn from it. So I'm glad that I was able to just learn from that loss. I'm
just interested to see if that fix is going to happen sooner rather than later. I've been watching S&D a lot in this game, and I just feel like it doesn't allow a lot of teams to be as dynamic in terms of strategy and things like that. So just something to keep an eye on as the season moves forward. But, well, first off, thanks for breaking down your team a little bit. Now I want to talk about your transition from Halo to competitive CoD. If you had to list one or two, a couple things that you sort of brought over that gave you an advantage, coming over from Halo, was there anything specific that you felt like you did, a little bit better than some of these COD pros, or how has that experience been?
To be honest, I only had 2 years into playing competitive Halo, and the only thing that that I transferred is just that talent and then my movement. Other than that, I guess you could say that experience in terms of like LAN and all that good stuff. But I mean, we haven't played LAN and COD in a while, so I can't really say anything about that. But that's like the only thing I've really transferred is just my movement and then my individual skill.
Why do you think you're sort of ahead in the movement side of things? Like, obviously, people look to you, to some of your clips. You try and figure out like the most efficient combinations to whether it be a slide cancel or jumping or things like that. Do you think people just don't spend enough time doing it? Is it something you feel like you just pick up a little bit faster? What is it, man? Why is your movement just on another level?
I think it's just because I look at the game completely different than everyone else in terms of just like getting places faster. You know, people don't really slide cancel off spawn and like try to figure out ways to get places faster. But I feel like I'm like the only guy. I mean, I'm not the only guy, but I feel like, you know, I just think differently in terms of that stuff. And, you know, I find little jumps that everyone doesn't really think of and stuff like that.
That's super cool. I mean, it's fun to watch. It definitely paid off for you last year. You got MVP your first season into the league. How'd that feel? How did you come in, rookie season basically for Call of Duty, right? I know you've played Call of Duty before in a competitive environment, but how'd that feel, man, coming in and getting, that sort of notoriety and most importantly, the MVP award your first season?
Yeah, it felt good. Like it was, there's honestly I can't put any words into it, to be honest, just because like in the beginning of the year, obviously it was not a good start. And then like I got a lot of criticism for it, but I kind of just put my head down, work towards that goal, which is like being better individually and better as a teammate. And I just worked on like the little things in terms of like small talking, getting better individually, being a good teammate. And I'm just glad it all paid off at the end.
Love that a lot, man. Obviously, a little bit of a rough start to the year, but it was launch weekend. Those matches didn't like matter that much in the grand scheme. Super awesome. And then just one more fun question for you. I'm kind of going off script here. I just want to hear your opinion. Going back to the Modern Warfare season, let's say you had to pick one of your teammates to win MVP. Who would you pick and why?
One of my teammates, honestly, all of them deserve it. But if I had to go with one, I'd say iLLeY. Just because, I feel like the stats, I mean, I don't know what his stats were, obviously, but he didn't really get that much hype, but he was one of those players that did everything for the team when it needed to be done. It was like that dirty work player. And I feel like he had a really big impact in our team, but no one really realized it just because, the matches that are showcased, they don't really see what he's doing on the map for the most part. And I feel like he gets discredited a lot. And I feel like if I had to give one person MVP on my team, I'd go with iLLeY.
I like that. Showing iLLeY some love. I appreciate that. The undersung hero. Listen, I wish some of my teammates gassed me up a little bit more like that. Dirty work player, maybe not showing up as much on the scoreboard or top kills or anything like that. It goes a long way. I like that a lot. Yeah,
you get a rotation,
and that's how you
on one hill, and like no one looks at that. Everyone just looks at the stats.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, dude. All right. Moving on to the next segment now, what we're going to do for this next one is, it's called Hit Fire, all right? So we have a 90-second timer, and I'm just going to fire off a bunch of questions, 18 to be exact, about Call of Duty, about CDL. We'll see how many correct answers Shotzzy can get. Starting this in 3, 2, 1. Name one of the two teams that went 2-0 in the opening weekend this season.
FaZe and...
You got one, that's fine. Who had the most kills for Dallas in the opening weekend?
Shotzzy.
With a higher opening weekend KD, you or Crimsix?
Me.
What was the last map of the Dallas versus Seattle match?
Garrison.
Name two of the top 3 players with the most kills so far.
Huke, aBeZy.
What's your current record in Control so far?
1-1.
Which team is based the furthest away from Texas?
Paris.
Which team is Parasite on?
London.
Which COD game had Meltdown multiplayer map?
Black Ops 2, I don't know.
Which COD game had Crash?
Black Ops 2.
Which COD game had Havoc?
Black Ops 1.
Which COD game had Satellite?
Black Ops 2.
Which COD game had Array?
Raid?
Array.
Black Ops... Modern Warfare 2.
Crowder is the head coach for
FaZe.
which team? Who is the youngest player in the league? Did the original COD come out before or after the original Halo?
Before.
What is the first name of the Adler operator in the Black Ops series?
Huh? Charles, I don't know.
That's a pass.
Yeah.
What game did COD introduce Control?
Black Ops 4.
Dang. Okay. Let's tally up your right answers really quickly. Dude, some of those were hard.
Yeah.
The COD and Halo one was actually a pretty good one. I read the Adler one and I didn't even know the answer. I'm like, oh, he's screwed on this one. I should have just skipped it for you, saved you time. Oh well. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Not bad.
I got 9.
You know, you got 50%. You tied Hex.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
I'll take it. Yeah, he knows more COD than me, so I'll take it.
You're tied for first. That's not a bad spot to be.
I'm tied for first?
Yeah, I mean, it's only been you two. So.
Shoot.
Hey, we'll take it though. Okay, that's gonna do it for hip firing. You're hitting half your bullets. That's not bad for hip fire, to be honest with you. That's got to be some decent centering. Okay, moving on now. We're gonna do some VOD review. Basically, it's gonna be a listen-in from when you guys played against Røkkr on Checkmate.
Okay.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, run it.
I'm flooding. One's really weak and no.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the left.
Stay down.
Wobbing it. Nothing. B-lane, one bullet. Priestahh. On hill.
Oh, behind us. Full bench.
Ball,
Okay,
behind us.
that's a major.
Catch 20 quick.
I'm spawning quick.
Alright.
Got 2.
One minute.
Spawn down.
Yeah, pilot staff. You
Play my
gotta
life.
One guy's mid plane.
Yeah, top right, Lamar. Cut a weak. Just one time,
see him.
One time.
I needed it.
One's really weak and no.
Oh, yeah, major got me. Back right. I don't know where you went. In hill.
Oh, he's
In hill,
credit corner.
Where they?
Alright, all good.
Yeah,
Yo, focus
yeah,
up.
we're good.
Focus
Yeah, we're
up.
good. Yo, one guy was deep right. We gotta kill the guy deep right if we can.
When does
Yo,
the plant
someone
up-
work with me right.
the plant up?
Yeah, I'm gone.
Front. They're playing
When did they
subs?
plant up? Yeah, they're plant up somewhere.
There's a guy on me right somewhere. If someone wants to help me.
I got him right now. Kill the guy right. One
Yo,
was
under
plant
plane
up.
subs. I'll come. Yo, one guy's in tube.
In tube.
It's a tube, yeah. He rest at tube.
Oh, where'd he go?
He's at army.
Get your porter. Stay alive.
I'm trying. I killed him. Oh, what? He's one side
hill.
tube. Watch out, right side tube. Right side tube, yeah.
Yeah.
Under wood hall.
Alright, we're
I'm
good.
waiting for his from.
One guy just
Yeah,
ran
yeah,
right side. Got one.
Where'd you go?
Alive.
Yeah, one's
I got
tube.
him.
Yo, what up?
Only up.
Okay, so in that listening, you guys don't have the best run, right? You're trying to get top plane control. You're trying to focus on the rotation on that one. The guy in pipe actually gets like a 2-piece or something like that. And you guys are trying to figure it out. What are your thoughts on that listening? Do you guys think you handled that situation well, even though the situation wasn't going your way? Do you guys feel like you should have maybe slowed it down a little bit, regroup, try and team shot something? It seemed, from my POV, it seems like it was a little bit frantic, right? It was kind of people talking over one another. There wasn't really much coordination of who like which isolation gunfight you guys are going for. Give me some thoughts there about that specific listening.
Yeah, that so watching back, it was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. So P1 is kind of just like a Vixie Hill, so like you kind of just need to go from your side, and then hopefully you win those gunfights, which is pretty hard. So that's why those comms kind of seem just off, because we're not getting our kills, and it's kind of hard to communicate when everything's not going your way. But yeah, I mean, in terms of getting control, we didn't really small talk like, oh, what we're gonna do on the hill. It was kind of just like either dead call outs or like one's there. You heard in that listening that I tried explaining that like I destroyed the trophy, tried to name their side just to get some nades on it, but nothing went our way, and it was pretty bad communication. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but you're totally right. Like if one or two of those kills and maybe in playing go a different way, it kind of gives you top control and you can focus on the rotation over there. But yeah, I think it's a good example there where it's like maybe if someone just steps up for a second and is like, hey, let's focus this guy first, or just wait like an extra second or two to have like a 2v1 gunfight or bait and switch, something like that, may have paid off a little bit more. In terms of your comms as a whole, though, kind of higher level. Is Crimsix the in-game leader, or who's small talking the most? Who's sort of stepping up in S&D? Who's like the leader in each game mode for you guys?
I feel like it depends on every single play. Like if there's a guy situationally saying like, oh, there's two there, everyone do this. Like I feel like everyone does it for the most part. But Porter's obviously that guy that shot calls the most in terms of like hard point, like, oh, rotate, like he stress calls that, and I feel like him and Kyler are the ones that do it the most. And in S&D, I feel like it's iLLeY, me, and Huke, and then Kyler or Porter kind of just there listening to us because he feel like he trusts us. So him for respawn, and then us for S&D.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I obviously was coach of the team with him on it for a while. We had sort of like a similar breakdown too, and the teams that perform the best with communication, you've brought it up multiple times in terms of small talk. What we mean by small talk for people watching this show is, you don't want to just be giving death callouts. You don't want to be just giving very, very general information, because a lot of that you kind of can see on the minimap on your own. What we mean by small talk is, let's say I get a kill top plane and we need to figure out a plan to break over to second hard points. Be like, hey, I'm top plane. Yo, you figure out who's, behind you on your left, and you can like set up a play. It's like, yo, chow pipes them at the same time. And so there's some players that can like coordinate things like that on the fly and fast. And then there's other players, from my experience, that aren't so great at it. They just kind of tunnel vision, they get cracked, and it just really depends on the player. Yeah. So that's sort of what we're talking about when we're talking about small talk. But yeah, I think if you have a team that's like balanced, it depends on who's in the play to sort of direct traffic and call for help, things like that. So not the best experience from the listen-in. I've watched a lot of listen-ins with you guys, and we probably could have picked a better one, to be honest, but it's all good. I think it's good for people to learn like what comms can be like when things might not be going your way. So I like it. Okay, thanks for the input on your guys' comms a little bit for each game mode. Moving on now, we got the 5G tier list. This one's going to be really easy for you, I think. I need your top 5 competitive Cold War maps. So whether it's the layout of it, how it plays on a certain mode, just top to bottom, 1 through 5, S being your 5G tier, and then just, list them 1 through 5 for me.
Okay, I'm going to go with, so the first one, in terms of like the best map out in Cold War competitive right now, I'd say Raid. Second would be...
I'm so happy you picked that one. I was going to be mad if you didn't pick Raid.
Yeah, no, you have to, I love Raid. I didn't play Raid back in Black Ops 2, but just the way it looks and the way it plays out, it's so balanced in terms of like, it's not one-sided, I feel like.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to go with Raid. 2, I'd go with... Garrison. 3, I'll go Moscow. Not a lot of people like Moscow, but I like playing it. And then I'd say Checkmate, and then Crossroads. And I think
Crossroads last. Wow.
I mean, if you play, the spawns are pretty bad, so that's
they're hard to predict. When you get a kill and you're expecting someone to spawn here and they spawn out over there, it's very, very frustrating. So I can only imagine. Let's go. So Raid, Garrison, Moscow, Checkmate, and Crossroads. I like the Moscow pick. I'm a big fan of Moscow, actually. I like that one sitting there. I actually might rank Moscow over Garrison. And the only reason I say that is I feel like Garrison's pretty solid for respawn, but I think Garrison S&D, man. I feel like if there's like one more access point over towards the A bomb site, so you know what I mean?
Another lane, because like so much better.
Any player can hold green, right? You just sit on the stairs on that beast heady and just kind of look at the hop up or whatever by the ladder. It's just like I don't know, maybe like one more access point, and that map would play out better. I'm interested to see too, like if like Express S&D might make it into the map set. Did you ever play Express back in the day? You said you ever played Raid.
I did not remember playing Raid, but I remember playing Express. I'm pretty sure that's all I did back in the day, just play S&D. For some reason, I don't remember playing Raid, but I do remember playing Express.
Gotcha. Do you think Express S&D in particular might have a spot somewhere in the map set?
I hope so. I mean, that map plays out really good in terms of like S&D. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So okay, cool. That's a great list. I think I agree with you for sure. For those watching the episode, we'd love to hear what your 5G tier list would be in terms of Cold War maps. Leave it in the comments. We'll see if you line up with Shotzzy. Maybe not. Moving on now, we got TEEP'S takes. In this segment, I'm going to give my quick hot takes on Call of Duty League teams, players, and recent events. And I want you to give me your opinion, Shotzzy. I'm going to give you my opinion on the situation. Also, those people watching, if you agree or disagree with my take or Shotzzy's take or whatever, you have your own take, just comment. We'll read them. Okay. Adding in the control game type back into CDL. I hope this is unanimous for everybody, right? Control is just a significant upgrade compared to Dom. I'm going to speak from the viewership perspective. You can talk to me about the player perspective, okay? But, playing domination, watching domination, there's just not a lot going on. It's mathematically over, by 3/4 into the game most times. There's a couple situations where you can get like a nice 3-cap and spawn trap people, things like that. But I think we can all agree, Control, when it got added into BO4, it was a breath of fresh air. I know people, including myself, love things like CTF and Uplink and things like that when you're talking about a third game mode for competitive Call of Duty. But I think Control has sort of made its way in and locked down like a pretty good, solid, game type for Game 3. I think it's a perfect balance, especially from the viewership perspective of a more simplified game mode that maybe a more casual viewer can follow along and be like, oh, this team has X amount of lives left. They have to cap this point. Something a little bit more simple. They don't have to do math with the flags like they had to do in Domination, things like that. And honestly, it's, I guess it's arguably the most similar game mode that we have to Team Deathmatch, which has always been the most popular Call of Duty mode. So, Shotzzy, what are your thoughts? How do you like Control so far?
I agree. Domination playing it was at times pretty annoying because of the fact that people would 3-cap and you're kind of in the spawn trap, where Control, it's not that one-sided in terms of like that first half. Even if you do lose offense or defense, you could easily come back and win that next offense or defense. And I feel like it's way more balanced. Right now some maps are heavily defense favored, but right. I'd say throughout the year, you'll easily see a lot of people winning offenses. It'll probably just take time, but yeah, I really like Control.
What's your favorite Control map?
As of right now, I'm going to go with Checkmate.
Checkmate? Yeah, I like that. I feel like Raid plays pretty well too. I always like watching Raid Control.
Raid Control is really solid.
Control greater than Dom. That's the moral of the story here, folks. Okay. 1.3 million unique viewers for the opening weekend. The most watched regular season matches that we've had. That's not bad. 1.3 million unique viewers for opening weekend. I feel like we're finally starting to come together as a community, and we're starting to get a lot of things with the broadcast that we've been missing for so long. And what am I talking about? The account linking. There's been so many accounts linked because people want the free stuff that they can show off in game, whether it be CDL skins, the weapon packs, the charms, double XP. I forget all the bonuses off the top of my head, but the fact that they're starting to implement things like this, I think when they see the results coming in, maybe that'll, it'll be like a proof of concept, and they'll start elevating those rewards. Maybe you get an exclusive skin for watching a major tournament for 6 hours at a time, and it's gold and it's sick. And maybe it's Shotzzy with him doing some sort of Shotzy's guy doing a slide canceling animation on the gun. I don't know. I'm thinking outside the box here, but regardless, I think the viewership has been amazing so far, but I don't want it to stop here. Okay. I think there's ways to reward the viewers in a way even more, and a way to give them something that they can show off in game that everyone might not have. If you have something exclusive that people can unlock for watching a lot of hours of the broadcast, people are going to, leave the stream on, maybe open up another platform, maybe open up an extra tab, link an account. Maybe they'll link their friend's account. They might not be able to watch. I don't know. I just feel like if they keep improving this process, viewership's going to continue to go up, and that's just a great thing for everybody. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, if I'm a viewer and watching something competitively and I'm able to earn free rewards, I'm doing whatever they're asking me. You tell me to watch 1,000 hours, I'm watching 1,000 hours,
Bet, leaving the stream on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect for, the live stream. And not only that, like, competitive play this year is really fun to watch. I'm glad that, we're hitting these numbers, and I'm excited to see what this year could be.
Yeah, especially when the majors start rolling around. If it's starting like this, just imagine like a big matchup like you guys versus OpTic, or a FaZe versus another top tier team. Just super excited. We got Thieves back too. I think that's pretty big and a bump viewership as well. So it's a great start. I just feel like if it seems like we're headed in the right direction, makes me super excited. And then you said it too. I think the viewing experience of this title compared to the last one is a lot better. I myself enjoy watching a lot more. I'm not really getting bored in some of these matches. So I think we're in for a pretty good season, man.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Shotzzy, my man, thank you so much. Listen, you came into the league by storm. You've been dominating with your team so far. I've seen just so many improvements in your specific gameplay already. So just whatever mindset that you and your team is in, just keep on that, bro. I think you have an opportunity to cement your legacy very early on in your career if you just stay focused and keep trying to set the bar higher and higher for yourself, dude. You've been nasty to watch so far, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Barracks, man.
Yeah, appreciate the gas, and thanks for having me.
Alrighty, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Barracks Season 2, presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Please let us know who you want to see on the show for the next episode, and make sure to subscribe to the COD League YouTube for future episodes and leave your feedback.